For those of y'all out there that have been looking to play your first Latin groove ever, as always, came to the right place. So today we're talking about Latin grooves. I'm going to show you a very simple approach that you can take to playing these types of grooves. Today we're actually going to focus on just one particular style because there's several different types of Latin rhythms out there. Today we're going to focus on what's called the songo. And I just need to give you a disclaimer here, okay? I'm not claiming to be an expert on Latin grooves, all right? There's cats out here far more qualified to show you how to play this type of music authentically. One that I'm going to recommend to you is my man Juan Carlito Mendoza. He's got a great channel out here, and he's super slick with it. So I'll leave a link to his channel in the description box. Today, I'm just here to get you started, okay? Going to show you some simple things that you can do to start playing, you know, kind of an introduction on playing Latin grooves, just to get you going and, you know, make sure you don't sound like a sucker. So the most important thing to keep in mind with Latin music, Latin grooves, is that it's almost all feel. Okay, technique is important, but just because you got a ton of technique doesn't necessarily mean that your grooves are going to feel good. There's a lot of emotion in Latin music. It's the sexiest type of music on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. I'll fight you in the street on that. So what I'm going to do is just give you some simple tips on how you can play this particular type of groove so that at least you get a good foundation just to get it to sound good. But I do suggest if you want to get into this music, you got to immerse yourself into it, okay? Just listen to a lot of it and listen to a lot of authentic Latin drummers. All right, here we go. So the groove that we're going to sort of focus on today is, like I said, it's going to be the songo, just a variation of the songo. You've heard it a million times. It's basically the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's probably the one rhythm that I hear drummers trying to play the most, and no disrespect, getting it way wrong. You don't want it to sound super stiff. Okay, I hear a lot of drummers playing it like this. Don't be that drummer, okay? So let's get some tips. We're going to start out with how to create sort of the right type of feel. There's a lot of dynamics involved here. So the first thing that I want you to do with the left hand and the right hand, we're going to start just with the idea of playing 16th notes, okay? 16th notes between the hats and the snare. So basically, if this is our tempo, 2, 3, 4, okay, you're just going to focus on playing this. All right? But we're going to split it between the hats and the snare. So what I want you to do is focus on playing the quarter note accents on the hats, all right? All of the notes that you're going to play on the snare, I want them this small, okay? The more in the background you can get them, the better. This is where we're going to start, okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the idea. All right? It's important that the hands are completely and fully 100% relaxed. Your hands and the rest of your body, for that matter. You want everything to be completely relaxed. Now, underneath that, we're going to play the kick drum pattern, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. okay? So if we add that underneath what we're doing up top, playing those quarter notes on the hats, keeping your notes on the snare nice and silent. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start with this. Okay? I want you to live there for at least 2 weeks. Don't do anything more than that. Okay, what we're trying to do is to create that nice, fluid feel for this groove. Okay, this is going to prevent everything sounding way up here volume-wise. All right, we're trying to mix what's going on here. So we got the quarter note accents happening on the hats. Nice, strong kick pattern underneath. Nice, quiet ghost notes. Live there for a good while, okay, before you get ahead of yourself. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add the accents, or what would technically be called the backbeats, on the snare. What we're doing essentially is we're playing 16th notes on the snare drum right now. Right now, they're all quiet. We're just going to bring some of those out, and we're going to accent them, okay? So if we're counting 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E, and the accents are going to fall on 1E and a 2E and ah. So I guess it'll be the and or the ah of 2. So we 1E and a 2E ah, and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E ah. You know, 1E and a 2E ah, and a 4, that type of thing. Okay? So, starting, well, I mean, if you want, it's probably best to just start with the hats and the snare and get that happening first. Okay? That's going to end up sounding like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? You can almost start to hear this come together. So, now that we got that going on, we're going to add the kick back into the mix. And you can hear, you know, what it's going to end up sounding like. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start with this. All right, so that is what it sounds like when you sort of bring it all together. There's still one element that you're going to want to add to this. You got 2 options. It's the hi-hats with the left foot. Normally, I like to play sort of the offbeat eighths with that, but you can also just play solid quarters underneath it. I guess for me, it depends on the tempo, but in most cases, when I'm doing it, I'm playing the offbeat eighth notes on the hats. So it's a little bit hard to do slow, but 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so the reason why I had you start with the 16th notes between the left hand and the right hand is because that sort of sets the rhythmic pace for everything that's going on here, okay? This particular groove has sort of a 16th note type of foundation. So when you continue to play that with the left and the right hand and it just focus on bringing out the accents, it just kind of helps it sort of smooth out a little bit when you're doing that, okay? Now, right now, it still sounds completely mechanical, like an exercise out of a book. That's cool right now, okay? You're just getting started with it, so don't worry about that. Later on, like once you start to get better, once it starts to feel better, then you can start to bring in the subtle details that's really gonna make this thing feel good and sound good and stuff like that. But for the most part, that's it. Like that is your first ever Latin groove, and that's how you play it. So after you get comfortable with all of that, the next thing that you're gonna wanna do is just sort of work your speed up, okay? And play it to the point where it's nice and loose, nice and comfortable. Okay, again, the most important thing, you know, those 16 notes between the left hand and the right hand, but those quarter note accents, man, like make sure you're comfortable just sort of, you know, snapping those things out and getting them to feel good. Your ghost notes on the snare, you want everything to sound exactly the same, just at a, you know, faster tempo. So let me just start it out slow and then we'll speed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's what it sounds like, kind of sped up, a little bit up the tempo. Now, here's the important part. What I want you to do, once you reach this point, is forget about everything I just told you, all right? Once you've learned how to do that, that's in your muscle memory. Now you want to start to think like a musician. And by that, I mean, I want you to start to produce your left hand on the snare, okay? Right now, it just sounds like a loop, like an exercise out of a book. What I said off the top still applies, okay? Latin music is almost 100% feel. So what you want to do now is, again, start to think like a musician. I want you to start to produce your left hand and play around with those accents. You have the full range of dynamics with the left hand. You can start to mess with that. The one main accent, that backbeat, that can serve as sort of your main go-to, sort of the main foundation of that groove. But what you can do with that left hand is start to play around with those accents and sort of that full range of dynamics. You got 16th notes that you're playing on there. You can do whatever you want. Well, I'm not going to say whatever you want, but there's a lot that you can do as far as playing with those accents to really make that groove feel nice. So let me give you an example. I'm going to play the right hand on the ride, and just pay attention to what I'm doing with the left hand. All right, so you can hear what the difference is now when you start to produce your left hand, okay? You're not just playing a 2-bar or loop or whatever anymore. You want to start to play music with that left hand. And that will serve as a really good foundation on how to play at least this particular Latin groove, but that approach you can take to playing, almost anything really. But for your first time, for your first experience with this groove, this is a good place to start. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you share it if you dig it. Drop a comment below if you got one. The song that I just played, that little clip that you heard, that song is available at DRUMEO. If you're an Edge member, you can grab that tune. If you're not already an Edge member at DRUMEO, there's a special link in the description where you can try it out for 30 days for free. Make sure you hit that. Just land on my landing page. When you click on it, 2 clicks, you're in. Do me one more solid. Grab yourself a piece of merch on the way out. That link is also, there's a lot of links in the description box. Just click all of them. But I do have the best merch in the game if you didn't already know. So go ahead and grab one, grab a t-shirt, grab a hoodie, grab something. Every time you do, you support the channel. As for me, I'm hungry. I'm getting out of here. Like, subscribe. See you next video.